Welcome to Trigger Talk, your place for everything first-person shooters like Battlefield, Call of Duty, and so much more. I'm your host, Dave Goodwin, and as always, I'm joined by Sammy Boy. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Ready to hop in to another episode, and today we're going to be talking about Battlefield 6's Battle Royale. We're going to talk about some of the leaks, thoughts on the gameplay that was shown, and then get into some of our ideas and thoughts around a Battlefield Battle Royale, because there's some thoughts here, so let's jump in. Battlefield Battle Royale. Battle Royale Field. I'm
actually curious what they're going to call it.
Firestorm.
Yeah, do you reckon it will? I wonder. I thought that because it looks like it's still Firestorm, but then I thought, have they got PTSD from that, or do we want to call it something else?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because the thing about Firestorm wasn't the actual game mode that was bad. It was just that it was paid. That was the real bad part of it.
Yeah.
Because the game mode itself was pretty solid. I really enjoyed it. The 2 months that it was playable.
Yeah, it's a shame. I would love to jump on and play it now, but I can't. It's dead. So
yeah,
it's a bit of a shame.
It's dead. It's as dead as Hazard Zone.
Yep. We don't talk about that here.
Not here, boy. I am so fascinated about this whole Battle Royale thing. So I want to talk about the leaks first. The leaks themselves look so much like Warzone when Warzone launched.
Yeah, there is a lot of Warzone about it, that's for sure.
The leaks that we've seen don't have, according to Tweaktown, it says they don't have any loot on the ground. So I think that's interesting. But it is a large map, so all of the people complaining about the map sizes in Battlefield 6 can just go play the Battle Royale, because that's definitely the same experience, right?
Yeah.
What do you think about this?
I nearly started talking about this before we started recording, and we cut it short. I'm in the probably minority of the Battlefield community where, as a big BR fan, I am really excited for this. I do see the downsides as well, so I have concerns for sure about it being similar to Warzone, where it kind of takes away from actual Battlefield, because I don't want that to happen. Even if the BR is awesome, I want the core Battlefield to be the focus, and it should always be, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But obviously, if the BR is hugely successful, that probably won't be the case. They probably will. It's EA. They're probably going to go, okay, we're a Battle Royale company now. So, yeah, I have some concerns. But overall, I just think, if it's done properly, this could be the BR for me. I know that Fortnite has always been the king, and Fortnite's really solid. It's not quite for me. I don't know what it is about that game. I have fun when I've played it, but it's not. It's never grabbed me fully.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, the more realistic ones, for example, Warzone, they just grabbed me, man. It was like that with PUBG. I became fully addicted to PUBG when that sort of launched. And then to me, the next sort of iteration of that was Warzone, because obviously there was Fortnite, there was Apex. They're a bit more sort of unrealistic. Not that there's anything wrong with.
Yeah.
I don't think they need to be realistic. I just really enjoy the grounded sort of feeling of them. And to me, this feels like that next jump from PUBG to Warzone, then Warzone to this Battlefield BR. If it's as good as it can be, then, man, I think it could be really special. But yeah, they got. It's very much easier said than done, because there's a lot that can go wrong. Even with Firestorm, I thought it was good, but there was stuff that wasn't perfect about it. So yeah, I'm not going into this thinking, it's definitely going to bang and it's going to be the biggest thing ever. I think it could just be a flop. We don't know. But if it's anything like the main game that we've played so far, where that feels like we're back, it feels like Battlefield's in a good spot again. If it's on that level of quality where we're all going, damn, this is actually really good, then yeah, I think it could be really special. And I do think it has benefits for Battlefield as well. I know a lot of the core fan base don't want it, and I sort of get that side of it. But also, if this brings in like millions and millions of new players, that is a great thing for us. And as much as none of us care about the financials of the game, I don't think anyone is worried about how much money EA makes. There's also part of us that sort of should, because if the money isn't coming in, then they will cancel support. We need this game to be financially successful.
Yeah.
In order for it to be supported and get the investment that it needs. And I think, I just think a BR can really add to that. So I'm overall excited for it. That's not without concern, but yeah, I'm definitely very keen to see how it goes.
Yeah, so I'm very conflicted on my thoughts around Battlefield 6's Battle Royale, which is all but confirmed.
Yeah.
I don't think they've officially said, hey, here's the Battlefield 6 Royale, and we're definitely doing that, but they've like hinted at it, and they said things are going to be here and there and all that stuff.
Yeah, even that leak, or not the leak, but even the reveal thing they did at the like LA event, they didn't actually say Battle Royale, did they? It clearly was, but like they have not actually said we're making a BR, which is funny because they've pretty much shown it, but they haven't said it yet.
Right? It's so funny. So on the one hand, like seeing this gameplay, it makes me excited. Like, oh, sweet, this is cool. On the other hand, like we've talked about this a couple times, and it may have been the episodes that we like didn't get to posting or something like that, but we talked about this many times about like we don't want any of the experiences that are like included in the free-to-play side of things to take away focus. I was watching Actman go through this video talking about Battlefield 6 and a lot of the Call of Duty streamers like Tim the Tatman and a bunch of these others that are basically saying, man, Battlefield 6 looks fun, but I really want there to be a Battle Royale. And if you look at it, of course they want a Battle Royale. That's where they make all their money from. Like, that's it's like, I definitely want this company to do this thing that also gives me a lot of money through my streaming. Like, of course they're going to say that. So if you look at it from that perspective, of course they're going to say that. I do wonder, I think there is some interesting things that they can do within the Battle Royale genre that would be really cool to see. The question mark is like, will they do that? Because like Firestorm was interesting. It didn't quite go all in on the Battlefield aspect of things, and I think that's what they really need to do. The leaked gameplay footage that we've seen is very much, I mean, it looks very similar to Warzone, both visually and gameplay-wise. But you do have the destruction aspect. In one of the leaked clips, they have a sledgehammer. They're going around destroying aspects of buildings. So that aspect is cool. But again, does it make sense for Battlefield? Can you really make a Battle Royale that makes sense and doesn't take away focus? I mean, that's one of the big problems with Call of Duty right now, is they had this very successful Battle Royale that took away a lot of the focus for them. And I think they lose a lot of that clarity of what Call of Duty is because of the Battle Royale, because of Warzone. For both good and bad. Like, I mean, Warzone was great. Warzone was what got me into Call of Duty. So there is that aspect of things. But on the other hand is like, if you look at Black Ops 7, there's no way you can tell me that Warzone didn't play a part in the influence of that game. And also Warzone's one of the things of them chasing the Fortnite drug of look at this collab and look at Beavis and Butthead and look at like all of these people. And it's become a meme recently, of course, but like, these experiences that people are now attributing to Call of Duty, I think is taking away tremendously what little goodwill the game had.
I think that's the main thing with Call of Duty these days, is that like it sort of came back a bit with Modern Warfare 2019, but unfortunately that was also when Warzone launched, and then it's like they did all that work to sort of revamp the series a bit, but then now I feel as though they do. It is they make Warzone and then they make Call of Duty around that, if that makes sense. It's not the other way where they're making the 6v6 modes primarily as their focus, and then they add some cool stuff to Warzone and like add a new map here and there. It feels like Warzone is the focus, and then they're like, it's like they're attaching a $70 game to the side of it if you want that, which is not how it should be. And that's why for me Call of Duty's like fallen off so bad, because they did bring it back. I've got issues with Modern Warfare 2019. I actually don't like that game that much, but I think it did so much really well. But then they've just it's just like regressed again since then. It was already like they had to go through that rough period where, say, Battlefield 1 was like doing really well, and I think it was Infinite Warfare was like, it just wasn't Call of Duty. They brought it back to what it was, but then they've just done the same thing again, and we're now again being like, what are you guys doing over there? Like, it's kind of ruined, and I think a lot of that is to do with Warzone, which for me personally I don't care about as much because I still play Warzone every week, mostly now very casually. Like, me and the boys just jump on and we literally play the casual mode where it's like mix of bots and real players, because we just jump on to like catch up essentially. But we used to play it like religiously, and we would like sweat, like we were trying to win and everything. And so for me, there's part of me that I'm like, I don't really care, because Warzone has made up for that for me, but I get that that's just me and it's not everyone. And that's the thing with Battlefield, getting it back to Battlefield, is that like, even if the BR is really good and it just becomes my whole focus, let's just say I just only really play the BR and I'm making content on the BR and that's my thing, that's good for me, but I know not everyone wants that. And there'd be a lot of people where if the game itself is lacking because of the BR doing well, even though I'm enjoying it, I still don't think that's good. And that's like the main thing for me, is that I just, if they can manage to actually balance it all properly, where like you've got a really good all-out warfare, you've got a really good campaign, you've got a really good BR, and it's all just like symbiotic sort of thing, then that's great. But if they prioritize one over the other, unless that priority is the main game, I think that would be fair if they actually prioritize like conquest and stuff. But if it goes the other way, that could lead to just a Call of Duty situation where then the next Battlefield comes out and they don't make that game primarily for Battlefield, they make it for the BR, and it's just an attachment on the side, and that would just undo all the work they've done to get Battlefield 6 to where we're actually all really positive about it. So that's my main concern with it, is just the sort of like, I don't know, the financial downside of it, where if it's making a heap of money, then the whole corporate element sort of comes in.
Well, that's my question for you. Like, let's just say best case scenario, this is doing like Uber numbers and is like incredibly popular and has some longevity. What do you think that does to Battlefield 6?
I don't think it will necessarily affect this Battlefield. It's more the future ones that I would be concerned about. I think that they surely have enough sort of ready for this game in terms of like an internal roadmap of the content we're going to get, all that sort of stuff, that I don't, at least not for years anyway, I don't think we'd see much of a difference, because we know what game devs like, where if you make a pivot right now, you don't actually really see that in game until like a year later sort of thing. So I think Battlefield 6 would be mostly kind of safe, but I think that the next one is my concern. If they just like fully bought into being a BR company and like add Battlefield on the side of the BR, then I feel that like Battlefield 7 would lack because of that. Just because, they'll launch like Firestorm 3.0, whatever it'll be then, and that will come with Battlefield 7. And like the BR will be the number one focus, and then maybe it'll be back to sort of 2042 where it's just lacking features. Like maybe there's just a certain stuff that they've finally added back in this game that we just don't get in the next one. the polish might not be quite there. Like the amount of content, we might not. We're getting like 50 something weapons at the launch of Battlefield 6. Battlefield 7 might go back to not having as many because they don't need as many for the BR sort of thing. So yeah, that's my main concern. I think Battlefield 6 itself should be fine, at least for like the first year and a bit, whatever, how long it takes until the BR actually launches. Let's say it launches 6 months after launch, which would be my guess. Then I'd still think it would be like 18 months till we see a real effect on Battlefield 6. So I feel like we can get 2 years of essentially like unaffected Battlefield 6. But then after that, who knows what happens really. If it is super successful, yeah, it could go the other way too though. That's the thing. It could, as long as they don't neglect the main game, then to me it could just bring in so much money that they go, all right, we're tripling down on Battlefield and we'll just have a whole team dedicated to the BR. We'll have a whole team dedicated to All Out Warfare. We won't make like the next Battlefield game. We'll just, sort of what I've been saying for a while, they shouldn't just pump out another one, in my opinion. They should give us like a Rainbow Six sort of situation where it's just, I would love this game now that we know it's good. Give me just 10 years of this, man. I would love that. I don't need Battlefield 7. Like, this feels good enough. I know that the money side of it, because they make so much money on sales, I know that they're not going to do that. But, man, if they could monetize it properly and just they're making bank, I would love to just not get Battlefield 7 for like a decade and just keep funneling all of your investment into this game, the BR, the ads, campaign DLCs and all that stuff. Like, that's what I would love to see. But yeah, who knows how it goes really. It could help or hinder the game massively regardless.
So you bring it up, which kind of like leads perfectly into this discussion as well. Like, did you see that like the not even rumor, it was someone from EA talking about wanting Battlefield to get to a yearly cycle with like multiple studios working on it at the same time? Like, yeah, that rings some bad bells for me. Like, they haven't even successfully launched Battlefield 6 and they're already talking about that. Like, dude, come on.
Yeah. For me, that will never. There's not a single reality in which that ends well. Like, that is impossible to do well. Do they think they can outdo Call of Duty in that, what they've been doing for 20 years? Not a chance. There's no way they look at what, like, COD is like suffering right now. I know that the financial side of it, it's killing it. Like, and to be fair, that's all they see, I guess. So that's all they care about. But like, the whole community is like, bro, do something about this. Like, the game is not what it should be. And that is Call of Duty, who is a juggernaut, who are experienced in the yearly release cycle. And Battlefield think that they can come along and do that and essentially do it better. Because if it's worse than Call of Duty, it will fail. Because Call of Duty, the only reason it isn't failing is because it's so big. If this game wasn't so big, it would be dead right now. Because people, like, their fan base is so mad about how things are being run over there. So that whole thing, man, I don't want that. I remember saying to you a while ago that I would be okay with them splitting the teams that they have and having like two studios. So have, say, like DICE and Criterion work on one game for 4 years, and then Ripple Effect and Motive work on the other game for 4 years, and have them staggered. So then you've got essentially every 2 years there's a launch, but there's a 4-year dev cycle. That I think could work. But even that, like, if you're essentially halving the amount of teams that are working on the game, that could also negatively impact it. So yeah, I think the opposite way to that. Don't give us a game every year. I would, like I just said, I would gladly play Battlefield 6 for 10 years, like people have been doing with Rainbow Six Siege. That game hasn't, like, I mean, it's actually got a lot of issues now that they've sort of rebranded with the Siege X sort of situation. But like, that game, that's proven. I know the numbers aren't nearly the same, but like, that's proven that people will stick around and play a game for that long if it's good. Look at Fortnite. They haven't released Fortnite 2, have they? It's just the same game. Yeah. So like, that's the whole thing that confuses me, is like, these companies all sort of chasing weird trends where it's like a lot of these companies are chasing the Fortnite trends, but then they're going to go do like the actual opposite of what Fortnite's doing. To me, it's just wild. I don't get it. I just think, give us this game. It's clearly going, unless there's just drastic issues, it's clearly going to launch pretty good, I think. We're going to get a good Battlefield at launch for the first time in essentially a decade. Support it properly for like, give us 2 years of just really good support where you're fixing up any of those little issues that it has, as well as like a lot of content and stuff. Battlefield 6 in 2 years from now could be like phenomenal. It could be on the level of like Battlefield 3 and 4 if they live up to what they clearly are trying to do. To me, I see that and go, okay, if we can get back to like peak Battlefield, why would we then launch another one when this one's good? Just keep adding content. You can do like big expansions where, say, like Destiny does that, where there's like full expansions that kind of change the game a little bit. So you could do, I don't know, do like a freaking World War II expansion to it or something where it's like heaps of maps and you, for a section of the game, you turn it into like old school shooter where it's like World War II themed and whatever. You can do stuff that way without releasing an entire new game, because every time they make a new game, there's always that issue that no matter how good of a position they get the previous game in, the next game launches poorly. And it's like, what if we just keep the game that is good and just keep building on it for so long? I just don't get it. And I know that it's to do with,
how are you going to get $70 every year from everybody?
I know, yeah, that's the issue. But that's the thing where monetizing it properly, if they can do that, that should make up for that, because like Fortnite is literally free and doesn't have Fortnite 2 and Fortnite 3 and 4. It's just one game and it's free and it makes billions of dollars. So it's clearly like the whole sales thing that they go for isn't a requirement. To me, that is actually them falling back on that proves they can't monetize the game properly, because they are relying on the sales, which to me isn't a good thing. Because even with this BR, it's going to be free. So there's going to be there might be 70% of the player base that are playing the game for free, essentially. So yeah, I don't know. That's my take on that. I just think I kind of just got PTSD where it's like, okay, you've actually finally given us a good one. Why don't we just keep this for a long time, monetize it properly?
We haven't even got the good one.
Yeah,
it's not even here
yet. That's my take on the whole thing. Is just I would go the opposite of the yearly release. If they do yearly releases, like Battlefield will die. It just won't survive that. I think it could survive for like 3 to 4 releases and be really good, but I just think it would essentially burn out. I just don't think that they can manage that unless, like, look, they've done a good job with this one. Maybe there's just been a crazy turnaround at these studios and it's like they've gone from being essentially like failures. Each game they've made has been not great in the last decade. Maybe some sort of crazy shift has happened. Maybe it's like Vince and all these new leaders coming in and these companies are just running like a machine now. Who knows? Maybe they can manage it. But if I'm basing it on the last decade of history, then they cannot manage it. They couldn't even manage releasing the previous games, which are on a 3 to 4 year cycle. So how are you going to do it with a yearly cycle? With essentially, if you're going to split that up into each of these 4 studios has their own game, are you telling me that you think Criterion, who are generally a support studio themselves, they've really never made that many games themselves, they're always generally like the supporting studio, you think they can make a whole Battlefield game on their own? I don't think that they can. I don't mean that as disrespect. I just don't think that they are. It's nothing to do with the actual developers. It's just the
especially considering
studio's not set up that way.
Their history of like primarily being like the Need for Speed games and like vehicle combat kind of stuff in Battlefront. And then also being like a support studio. Like it's really interesting that they like set up quote unquote Battlefield Studios and it's DICE and like was it DICE
I think
Gothenburg? Like
DICE and Ripple
EA?
Effect themselves could handle a game
Yeah,
on their own. Even though that look, DICE has obviously had its own issues, but
I
I
was
think
about
like
to say maybe.
yeah, I think like they could. It wouldn't be great, but I think that like they have the structure to do it, and I think Ripple Effect are like honestly they've really never missed anything that they've done. They've sort of always done a pretty good job at it. But like especially Motive as well, like they made Star Wars Squadrons, the little essentially borderline indie game. They helped with Battlefront 2. And did Motive make Dead Space remake, or was that Criterion? I always mix it up.
I think it's Motive that did the Dead Space.
Yeah. And they actually did a fantastic job with that, but again,
Game
that's
is
a
so
remake.
good.
It's a little bit different. So yeah, again, Motive, and it's no disrespect to Motive. Those games I just mentioned, like I love Squadrons and Battlefront 2. We don't have to speak about that. We love that game.
Yeah,
and Dead Space was great, but they're not a whole Battlefield game because now we're going to get All Out Warfare. We expect a campaign. We expect probably the additions of the Battle Royale, whether it's the same, whether they do what Warzone has, where it's like the same BR through all of these launches or whatever. There's no way Motive can do a campaign and multiplayer and the BR stuff. There's not a chance. They cannot do that. So it might work fine for the first one when it's just DICE. They might do that really well. The next one might be Ripple Effect. That might launch really well. We might get 2 in a row where we go, oh man, this actually could work. And then it gets to the Motive and Criterion ones and we're going to be like, what the hell? This isn't good enough. And again, it sounds like so disrespectful. It's nothing to do with the devs. It's just those studios they don't have like 1,000 developers working there. They're not set up in that way. They are generally support studios. And even with, say, like Squadrons, that was a tiny little game. Like that was, it had one update. Like it's not the same thing. So yeah, the yearly thing, I haven't even made a video on that because I was like, oh, that will be a 4-hour long video. Like I'll just rant about that, but I don't know, man. That's clearly to me a decision that like EA want. I feel like none of the devs want that. I feel like they're like, no, please do not do that to us.
Yeah. See, the thing that I think a lot of like people within EA and also outside of EA don't like understand with the idea of like having yearly releases is there still needs to be a level of live support and live service that happens with these games that just isn't very rewarding when you have a game coming out every year. Like look at Call of Duty. You come to the point where like you just bet on your fan base only playing the game for like 6 months, and that's about it. Like that's kind of the thing that happens when you release a game every year. You don't have the longevity that Battlefield has historically had. I mean, there's still people playing Battlefield 4 right now.
Exactly. That's my whole thing with the whole, what I say about like, give us 10 years of it. Like people still play Battlefield 4. There is literally proof in the fan base that people will, I think they get scared that like, oh, but people will get bored after that long. I don't think that we will. If the game's good, I'll play it forever, man. I'd still be playing Battlefront 2 if they were updating that game. That game came out in 2017. Like, it's again, look at Fortnite. People still play GTA 5, and GTA 6 is the most anticipated game, not because, like, oh, we've never played GTA. It's because people still play GTA 5, and they just want a new one. But it's different. It's been 13 years. Like, it's not like we got GTA 5, and then 2 years later, we're like, oh, give us another one. Like, we understand that they take time. And yeah,
especially with Battlefield, like historically being in every like 4 years, typically.
I think it used to, back in the day, it used to be like 2 years, and then I think it moved to 3 with.
Okay. Yeah.
Battlefield 1 was 2016, and the one before that. Well, it's kind of different because that had a hard line between. It was kind of hard to guess, but yeah, 2016 and then 2018 was Battlefield 5. So like that
every
was
2 to 3 years.
2 years.
Yeah. Which it's like the difference between making a game every year and making a game every 2 years and making a game every 3 years is tremendous. And the level of infrastructure and support and like you said, it has taken Call of Duty literal decades to get to the point where they can sustain it like it can, and it still struggles.
Yeah. That's my thing is like if they, I just don't think they can compete with that. And that's from me. I often roast Call of Duty for what it is, but like that's like the reason I think Battlefield is generally a better game is because they take their time with it and it's not always just rushed out. That's kind of my point. If we're gonna go like as they say band for band, if we're gonna go band for band and do every year, Call of Duty will absolutely delete Battlefield from existence. Like,
Oh yeah,
there's just no chance. It's not a competition. And also that's the other thing is like that's adding more competition with Call of Duty, which you probably don't want in that situation. Because then they will go, okay, you're going to do yearly releases. We are going to lock the hell in. And we're going to...
And that's the best part of competition when it's in this situation. Yeah. But if you are EA and DICE and historically haven't given the infrastructure and resources to your game studios and then try to do that, like... You got big Microsoft behind the scenes at Call of Duty, and they're looking very closely at how Call of Duty games are like performing, and you can't go up against them, like, which is unfortunate, and that's a big problem with the whole gaming industry. But that unfortunately that's the case.
Yeah, like Microsoft was looking at buying EA. Like, how are we going to say that company, like, they were going to buy them as just a little, like, an addition to their portfolio, and we're going to try and compete with that? It just can't happen, man. It just can't. I don't know. Unless they could just, the only way it would ever work is if they could somehow just, like, I don't know, if they say they took years with it, so we get Battlefield 6, and then there's like a 5-year gap before the next one, but then they start doing yearly releases or whatever, and they just kill it out of the first 5 are bangers, and 5 years in a row of yearly releases, and they all kill it. That, who knows? Because then they're making so much money they can keep investing into it, and it could eventually get to the size of Call of Duty. Who knows? But that whole thing when that came out, I thought, no. You've just got it back, man. We've done so much. We've been crying for a decade to just get a good one, and you've seemingly given that to us. Stop trying to focus on the yearly release stuff and just get us in a good spot. Make sure this game's good, and then just steady the ship. We don't need to. This is like what happened with the gaming industry in general. Is like there was a bit of a spike with COVID, and by a bit I mean a big spike, and all these companies just absolutely sent it, and now like they're paying the price for that because all of these layoffs and everything. It'll be the same thing with Battlefield. This one might kill it, and then they just absolutely send it, and now in 5 to 10 years from now we're going, oh, what went wrong with Battlefield? Like, I can just see that happening.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame that they're kind of hitting this point of the Battlefield life cycle. I don't think Battlefield needs to be that game. I think if they can get to a spot where they can consistently deliver good experiences that are grounded experiences that work for the game and the players enjoy it and they can nail the live service aspect, that is what they need to focus on over the fact of like, oh, we really want to at some point get to yearly releases. Like, why are you getting to yearly releases? Like, does it make sense for the game itself first? And they're just like, we haven't even thought about that. We just want people to buy our game for $70 every year.
Yeah, that's the thing is like that's clearly their motivation behind this. Whereas like it just shouldn't be. It should be to make the best game you can and still try to make a lot of money. I'm not trying to tell them to just not focus on money, but like they're clearly going, okay, we can. Why would we release one every 4 years when we can do it every year and get 4 times the money? It doesn't really work like that. And like you said, Battlefield isn't that type of game. It's not like Call of Duty is a small 6v6 arena like shooter. Battlefield isn't that. It's got huge maps. It's got destruction. It's got weight. The graphics are better. It's just essentially a bigger, better version of Call of Duty. You can't do that in the same amount of time. It's not the same game.
And also, you have to understand your fan base too. Like, you're not gonna take away the Call of Duty fan base away from Call of Duty. As much as you try, like, you can probably get some of them that will also play Battlefield, but like, you can't really go toe for toe because it's a different experience. Even with the smaller scale maps, those maps are still larger, and the type of experience is different than Call of Duty. And also, your fan base for the last 20 years has been built up around a type of experience. And maybe they get to the point where, okay, the Battle Royale has a big update every year. That maybe is a different story. But you can't do Battlefield the way that Call of Duty does it.
Nah. And that's a great point that you make, that like, if it gets to yearly releases, I can see it just becoming more and more like a clone of COD. And then, like you said, you're not going to out-COD COD. Like, that just won't happen. The reason that so many people love Battlefield is because it is different. It's not the same game. I prefer this type of game over Call of Duty. But if you make this one way more like COD and it comes out every year, and it's going to start like molding into the same game, and then you're going to get a lot of people who will then, who are fans of both, who might be like, okay, I'm going to buy COD this year and I'll get Battlefield next year, and I'm going to get COD the year after. And so you're not actually selling it every year. You're kind of getting a lot of people who are just going to buy it, like, alternate between the two. And like, I don't know how they're just so naive, man. The people at the top, they just clearly just do not get it. My understanding of what they must think is, like, they literally just, what you said earlier, they just see, like, someone in a board meeting has just, some like 70-year-old man has been like, hang on, why are we selling this only once every 4 years? We could do it every year. And then everyone in the room's gone, oh my God, how's he thought of that?
If we multiply that by 4.
Yeah. And there's a round of applause in the room. Oh my God, this guy's come up with the best idea. That's literally how I imagine these meetings go. They're just all a bunch of absolute clowns, like zero IQ people that just go, hang on, if we just sell it more often, we can make more money. And then everyone just claps. Like, that is literally the
brilliant,
the IQ levels that I imagine in these meetings, because it's just like, it's like a skit. I can imagine it being the real meeting.
Silicon
I can imagine
Valley,
it
the TV
being
show.
Yeah, like I can just imagine it being like that. And there's probably one dude in there who's like actually switched on, and he's just looking around like, what am I witnessing right now? A bunch of just 70-year-old men that just are like, they think they're geniuses because they just figured out if you sell something more often, you're going to make more money. But like, it's not how it works, man. It's just not. If it was that simple, like, if the industry was that simple, every studio would be billionaires. Do you know what I mean? It's not that simple. It's not as simple as, just sell more games and we'll make more money. Like, obviously, if we could all do that, it's like me saying, hang on here, if I just got more views on each video, I would make more money. Like, obviously, but that's not how YouTube works. Like, there's way more to it than just thinking the most dumb take ever and just implementing that into my business structure. Like,
yeah.
Oh man, it does my head in.
It's so frustrating. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, I know why they're thinking this, but I don't think they've thought it through quite deeply as they should.
Yeah. Because that's the thing, that if that comes up in a thing like, oh, what if we sold it more often? That's a fair question to ask. It's just that, like you said, they're not like diving deep into it and why they shouldn't do that, why they should do that. It just seems like they just go, oh yeah, let's do that, and they just do it. Like, they don't actually put the thought into it. That's the issue with these people, is they just like it just feels like any idea, just they're like, yeah, let's do that. Like, I can just imagine them all getting so excited, like, oh yeah, let's sell it more often. Like, instead of actually discussing it and stuff. I wish I could be in these meetings and just watch what goes on.
Like, are you
crazy.
seriously? Yeah. Dude, I don't get it. Like, I understand it, but I don't get it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. It's one of those things at face value when you just like say the sentence, what if we sell it more often? 100% agree. That sounds great. But when you actually think about it, that's no. That's
it's like, the amount of work necessary to deliver a good product at the end of the day isn't multiplied twice. It's multiplied at least thrice, or maybe 4 times as much. Like, the amount of infrastructure necessary to build that into your game development cycle is insane.
Mm-hmm. It's like how, you know how there's like a lot of shows, I don't know if it's, I'm sure there's some in America, but I know like in England there's a lot, in Australia there's a lot. There's a lot of shows where like they're like all year round. They're little, almost like, I don't know, like little family shows that, for example, in Australia there's like Neighbours and like Home and Away, these shows that literally every week they're on for like 20 plus years. They just like continuous TV shows. They're objectively not as good as like, you know, the HBO shows and stuff where it's just one 8-episode season every year or every 2 years because they just don't have the time to put into it. Do you know what I mean? It's like the show. It's like someone saying, "Oh, hang on. So there's a season of The Last of Us every year, or it's been actually every 2 years. What if we just did 4 seasons per year?" And everyone will be like, "We can't do that." What do you mean? That is impossible to do 4 seasons, to just have like season 1 in spring, season 2 in summer. It's impossible. So why do they think they can do it with a game? Do you know what I mean? It's the same thing. You can't do a season of The Last of Us or a season of Game of Thrones every couple of months. That is literally impossible. And they're trying to essentially do that with gaming. It's just not possible. I don't know why they think that can work.
I hope that things change. I don't think that they will. But I do hope that with whatever success that we think Battlefield 6 is going to get, that we see a level of understanding on why it is that way, and not just like, look at us guys, we're great, we're fantastic, we've done everything that, like, we didn't make any failures that we needed to address and change direction, and like that's the fear of this doing well, because every time that we've seen DICE do something good, they've like immediately lost any motivation to continue that streak.
Yeah, exactly.
So the idea of it being like exemplified over a yearly release cycle doesn't make me excited.
Yeah, it's with the BR. It's like I almost want it to just be really good but not do well. If that makes sense. Like, I want it to be fun for me to play, but I don't want there to be 100 million players, because that will be bad for the franchise. Like, I just want it to be almost essentially like Firestorm again, but like a bit more successful, but not too successful. I just hope it's like hits Battlefield levels where it's good and we all have fun, and then they just don't prioritize it. That would be the ideal situation, but yeah, I'm slightly concerned. I just don't think it goes. I think it either is a flop or it kills it, which is scary.
Yeah,
I can't really picture it being in the middle, like, which is where it needs to be. I don't think we don't need 100 million players on the BR. Not that that's a bad thing, but again, it would just lead to them focusing on it too much. But like, I also think if it's not doing that, if it's not killing it, then I feel like it'll just be a flop. Even if it's like decent, it might just be an absolute fail, and then they just do the hazard zone thing and just like delete it essentially. Which I don't. If that happens too, that's also bad, because then we're losing a part of the game, and 2, we're all just going to be sitting here going, man, imagine if they put those hours into the actual game itself, or like into the campaign, make the campaign a bit longer or a bit more cinematic or whatever. Like, so yeah, it needs to be in the middle ground somewhere, and I think either end of that spectrum is like really bad, unfortunately.
I want, first of all, I 100% agree with what you're saying about, like, you want the battle royale to be good, but like them kind of miss the point of like the bandwagon of the player base. 100% agree, because just personally, I want them to be more focused on the main experience, and if the battle royale is incredibly successful, well, we've seen how incredibly successful things like battle royales affect the main game and main experience. So I do hope that we get to see a level of quality and polish that's nice, but it like keeps, like, it's not insane, but it's like a decent launch. We'll see. Again, like the whole idea of having like a free to play aspect of a game, I think is 100% good. I was of the belief that Portal should have been the free to play thing for 2042. Not like Hazard Zone was theoretically going to be that experience, and they just never did that because that game was so underdeveloped in terms of what features were in the main game that they couldn't have broken anything out of that to have it be free. Like it didn't have enough there. So yeah, I do selfishly want that to happen. Will it happen? We'll see. But I think there's a lot of potential with them having a battle royale. I do wonder what the Battlefield audience is going to feel about that, how it's going to impact gameplay, how it's going to impact player base, because if you have that considerable player base on the battle royale, but it doesn't really transfer over to the main game, that's kind of a failure of your system. Like Warzone worked on me to get me into the Call of Duty pipeline, and I've now played all of the Call of Duties since Cold War. Like I bought the game, and I mean, I didn't buy Black Ops 6 because I have Game Pass, but I'm now in that pipeline of like, yeah, I'm going to play Black Ops 7. Am I going to really like it? Probably not, considering what we've seen so far. Like, it looks like it's Infinity War and Battlefield 1 again. Like, why do they keep on doing this?
Yeah. It's like, it is a repeat of history in a way. Just like, we've got a Battlefield that everyone's hyped about and a COD that weirdly everyone's like, oh, this looks terrible.
Yeah. Why do they keep on doing this? It's one of those things, like, I think they just keep on forgetting, and it's just a cyclical thing that will just continue to happen. Yeah. But we shall see. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below if you watch this on YouTube, or contact uplinkpodcast.com if you're listening to this wherever you find podcasts. As always, check out Sammy Boy's YouTube channels. Check those out. He's got some great content. He actually did a video just recently talking about his thoughts around Battle Royale, so check out that. Lots of great stuff is coming to the pipeline as we get closer and closer to Battlefield 6. Look forward to that. It's an exciting time. But let us know your thoughts. As always, we'll see you later, video gamers.